Is there another way to get a portal jump like that isn't a QR?
NFC, so near field communication chip.
Right.
And so basically what it is this could be an NFC chip.
Sure.
And all you
just
do is
put your phone near it.
You literally just
and
you just tap it, basically. The only problem with NFC chips, and it's because people don't know what they are.
Well, what if you just hit it inside your menu board and it just said tap here?
You could do that.
I'm
literally in the menu.
I'm probably going to start next week.
Yeah. Oh my God. So the menu is the NFC chip.
Correct.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you have the menu that you're holding.
Yeah, it just says tap here.
And then it says tap here if you want to see more, basically.
To order.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
It could seriously. You could build like a vase, and it could be at the bottom of the vase.
You totally could do that.
And a centerpies for your table.
Oh my
and it's just
God.
Tap it.
Wow, this is really good.
Edit that out.
Yeah, edit this out. Hi, my name is Brett Linkletter, CEO and co-founder of Dineline, a restaurant growth agency. We help restaurant brands of all sizes grow and scale to new heights, whether that means opening new stores or increasing revenue at existing locations. We have a done-for-you model where we take care of all of the work for our clients on the marketing front, and we also have a unique software solution called Dishio, which allows owners to showcase their restaurant in the best light possible online, while also turning guest interactions into data to increase profits. Right now, you're listening to our podcast, Restaurant Misfits, where we'll discuss all things related to restaurant marketing, management, and everything else in between growing a restaurant business. Scaling a restaurant today takes much more than having grit and hustle. In this age, it's about utilizing the newest technology, educating yourself on new platforms and trends, and having a deep understanding of how this industry is changing. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you up to speed with the latest and the greatest through interviewing the biggest and the best in the restaurant industry. As always, we appreciate you for being here, and we hope you enjoy the show. Brad, how are you?
I'm great. How's it going?
I'm good, man. I'm good. We finally look like we got our warm weather back in Miami. It was like freezing 2 weeks ago.
I know. It's good. You get
for us, right?
Throw on like a couple sweaters or jackets that sit in the corner of the closet.
Yes, 100%. Well, Brad, I'm super excited to chat with you. I did quite a bit of research on you, and you have a really, really interesting story. Your success and what you've done and all your different brands is phenomenal, by the way. Congrats.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
For those who maybe aren't aware of who you are or what you've done, can you give us just like a brief of what you do currently?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm a chef. At the core, I've started cooking and working in kitchens over 20 years ago, and as a teenager, and got into fine dining. So on that way up, I wanted to do my own thing, be an entrepreneur, and started opening restaurants. Had several, before COVID and after COVID. And what I'm doing now, the new company I started, is I do developer partnerships and work with hotel brands, et cetera, and then run their food and beverage programs or insert concepts. And that's what I'm in the middle of now. Yeah,
it's incredible. And you're traveling on a regular basis between here, San Francisco,
Honduras, actually.
Honduras, man.
Yeah, Mexico.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
How often are you moving around?
Nonstop, actually. It's I just hit like the highest level on the executive platinum on travel as a member.
Oh my God!
I always thought that was like unobtainable, and then here I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm jealous actually because I'm from California.
Yeah.
My fiance is Brazilian, and so we always joke that Miami's the perfect spot for us because we're going back and forth between here to California to Brazil all the time, and I'm still not even close. So I respect that.
It's for me. This was like a build mode investment.
Yes.
It's not a forever thing.
Yes, yeah. But wow, really cool, man. I love to hear that, and I guess let's go to the beginning.
Sure.
So how did this all happen? How did you find your way into the food and beverage space? Tell us about that.
Right. Actually, the young age of 10 years old.
Wow.
My best friend's older brother at that time was the coolest guy we knew, and he got a job at a breakfast brunch joint. And we started working, basically washing dishes on the weekends, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. Started getting kind of that first paycheck, and I was like, oh, there's a little bit of freedom. I can go buy that video game or whatnot I wanted.
For sure.
That grew into general interest of what was happening in the kitchen. The first job they gave me was French toast and pancakes on the flat top. and then they started yelling orders of toast and 5 or 6 different types of toast, and they would yell it out. I would listen. I'd put them in the toaster, and I guess I didn't mess that up. So
Yeah.
they kept me
it.
on the line. So from there it went just a huge interest in cooking and being in kitchens, and so little opportunities up on the way up. Hey, what is that kitchen doing? Am I into catering? Am I into a restaurant thing? And this is all in high school. And I took a really elevated culinary program in high school. Then it was later on recognized as like the best in the country, and James Beard recognized. And
wow,
that gave me this fine dining itch, and that hit my path to Michelin-starred restaurants.
Wow, that's incredible, man. And it's interesting. It's interesting to see. I think so. We've worked with over like 2,000 different brands. And what I've always noticed is the difference between the brands that really succeed or not are the brands that have a killer chef like yourself, but also are business minded, right? It's oftentimes, man, you must have a great product and service, right? You must have a great team. You must have great staff. You must provide an amazing experience, but also you have to understand the business, and you definitely do at this point. I mean, with multi-stores all over the place, you can't be in all places all at once. To manage this, how do you deal with that?
Right.
What's that look like?
There's no magic wand. It takes a lot of hard work, pre-planning, and great team. Like you said, I can't be everywhere. I can't do everything. We do our best to instill systems. Like even my prep sheets for the kitchen are color coded, and there's multiple different categories. You're constantly doing your own you're set with the par. You're doing an inventory. The chef is giving the priority, which is color coded, etc. It's being checked off. So we're looking for consistency by doing that. At the same time, all our recipes are to the gram, or sometimes to the half a gram.
Wow.
So the idea is that if I'm the chef, and I kind of look at myself as the culinary director of my own company, because I have chefs running the outlets, and they have their kitchen to run, and I don't even want to step on their toes sometimes in the way of that's their world. Together we're cooking my vision and sometimes our vision based on how long they've been with the team, right? So systems, and a short answer is trying to put those in a world that's run by humans, and you have to balance that out.
For sure. Systems and processes, having proper SOPs, I can respect that for sure. Where do you get your inspiration for your new dishes? Where does that come from?
Well, for a long time, inspiration came from a general interest with travel, right? And now I'm traveling so much for work. It's work-based travel, but when it's leisure, you kind of let your mind go a little bit. You might get a flavor combination that you haven't had, and your mind starts running. I had a dish years ago that staring out the window to the clouds from the airplane, and I came back and I made like a pasta dish with Parmesan clouds of 3 different textures to mimic what I saw.
Whoa!
It was pretty cool. That sticks to my head of what can be done on an airplane.
That is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That one stuck to me.
So okay, and I what do you think? Okay, so what comes to mind for you when you think of what is a Brad Kilgore signature? What is if I'm going to one of your menus, what do you hope to create? You talk about consistency, right?
Sure.
what is the signature taste or look or experience you want your guests to have?
Right. Recognizable but new. So that's really where I found myself get excited as a chef. I love classics. I mean, if you catch me on my day off, I'm not going to super modern molecular restaurant. I'm probably getting pomodoro sauce, on my tagliatelle. I do love red sauce Italian.
Me too.
I know, right? It just hits.
How do you not like that, right? It's the best.
So I put on one of my venues. I have the ultimate chicken parm is what I call it.
Nice.
And it's taken every step that a chef can do to a chicken to where, we brine the chicken, then we air dry it. We remove all the bones, but then we put the meat back together so it's boneless, but the thigh and the breasts are one piece again, gently pounded out. Do a double cooking process to it, and then it has all the layers you expect, plus chili crisp and fried capers and fennel pollen.
Oh, God, I'm getting hungry, man. You talking about this?
Right, and you get it, and it's a really elegant chicken parm.
Wow, that is awesome.
So not everything is a direct twist of a classic, But I think when people go out to eat, they want to kind of close their eyes and like be comfortable.
Is it almost maybe like nostalgic but new at the same time?
Absolutely.
But yeah. I can. As you're describing this, that's like what comes to mind. I'm thinking about this. This is amazing. This sounds good, but it's new at the same time.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're based here in Miami, or you're all over? Okay, so you're still based here, but you're just traveling all over the place.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
I live here. I'm in Miami, 2 to 3 weeks a month. Right now, it's probably about 2.
Yeah, for sure. You're all over the place.
Yeah.
That's awesome though, man. You're in an area of growth. That's the most fun to be in. And how do you go about growing and scaling your brand? I mean, is it when you look at what you're doing in store versus also what you're doing online? Talk to me about that, because you got a really, really cool online presence too. I looked you up. I watched a ton of your reels, videos, all that. Got a kind of a vibe of who you are.
That's good to know.
And I'm liking it. I'm liking it. But what do you like? Because here's the thing, right? So, we help restaurants we help them find more people to come in store.
Right.
Plain and simple, right? But I always tell restaurant owners that, hey, like, I can bring someone in store. You got to do the rest, right?
Sure.
Someone's not going to want to come back if their pizza tastes like rubber, of course. But like from your side, what are you doing right now to go ahead and acquire more customers, get people to know who you are and your brands?
Right.
What's that process look like?
Interesting. I mean, I think there's still the need for a classic guerrilla marketing at the way of trying to connect with people, connect with them directly. And the other part is return customers. And what I tell my team, especially in our new project in San Francisco, Cafe Sebastian, because San Francisco, is like on its way back up, right? It's kind of in its own
That's
rebuild
good to know,
mode.
by the way. Yeah.
It's beautiful what they're doing to it, and the new mayor and everything. That all being said, I said, guys, we'll win one customer at a time. So basically, when they return to their office or back to their friend group, and they say, wow, I just stumbled upon this place, or I happened to see it online, and I went in and I got a bite to eat, it's their word of mouth that is going to get our return. And there's more than just a food that's going to get us there. When they walk in, smile. And smile because you're happy to see them, and you're happy to see them because a restaurant feeds energy-wise off of being full. And also, let's face it, like, the revenue that goes directly into the waiters and waitresses' pockets and the whole house, right?
100%.
So be happy when they walk in the door and smile and be genuine. And we've worked really hard to create that culture. And actually, the whole team creates that culture. It's not just us talking about it at lineup. It's everyone.
100%. Do you have like any specific strategies or maybe tips you can share with the audience of what you do specifically? So like once they're in store, right? So you said smile, right? Yeah. I watched another podcast, like this was a couple months back, and this guy was saying when someone is going to leave the restaurant, he has his hostesses like offer like a mint or something like that, right? As on their way out, and then they on purpose run back or go back to I don't know wherever the mints were to get one more for them. They give them 2 on their way out. And he said specifically with this, like, well, if you're giving these mints while you're getting the bill, he sees the tips go up higher. And I don't know.
That's cool.
He
it's
claims
like
that
a
it works
final
for him.
gesture.
Yeah, it's like a final gesture. Like, oh, here's one for you. Oh, let me get one more for you. Runs back, and the tips go up. They get to increase. I don't know if it's true or not.
We do something similar. Is please make sure. Listen, it's busy. You might be walking by the front door. People pay their check, and some get up and walk out immediately, and some wait 15, 20 minutes, finish their coffee and finish their conversation. So being able to time and like walk up to the table and hit it at the right time is nearly impossible. But what I always ask for my team is when you catch somebody getting up and going to the door and you can tell that they're going to leave the restaurant, just walk them to the door, thank them.
Easy, right?
Get some, eye contact. And hi, thank you for coming in. Please let us know if there's anything we can do.
For sure.
Extending that extra, let me know if there's something else we can do or if we can see you again. People feel that genuine connection, and it's real, right?
It is. It is. Now that I also know you're here in Miami most of the time, what do you think about the Miami restaurant space these days? I mean, I'm new here. By the way, I've only been here for about 2 years.
Okay.
And I'm born and raised in Southern California. I spent a lot of time in Brazil. Now I'm here. Very happy to be here. I love the city.
Right.
But for someone who is operating heavily in this city, what do you think about the restaurant space here? What do you think about the brands here? What do you think about the restaurant culture and all that? Like, just kind of curious of your opinion.
Well, I mean, I've been in Miami going on about 13 years now. So the thing about Miami is it's constantly moving, and the
Transformed a lot.
It's constantly transforming. More than I think many other cities. I've gone back to other cities I've worked in, and you're like, okay, there's still a lot same here, right?
For sure.
In Miami, people are still experience driven, and even the locals are out to have a good time. There is an element of party that gets folded into what used to be a club scene is now like a restaurant club scene, and that differentiates from other cities. Other cities are watching in. Miami's all over social.
It's crazy, right?
It's no secret, and so other cities are saying, look what they're doing, and they're bringing that same style around the country. Now, simultaneously, we have become a chef-driven concept city where when I first got here, it was about hotels, and the hotels had the nicest restaurants. I worked at the Mandarin Oriental and the St. Regis in Bal Harbor because that's what was the driving force in the culinary world.
For sure.
And now it's about the independent restaurateur and chef-driven concepts.
For sure.
So the long story short, I mean, although the club restaurants are probably doing anywhere from 5 to 10x, in sales numbers, they also cost 5 to 10x to run,
to operate.
So I've heard there's good and bad with both sides of it.
For sure,
right?
Because I'll say this. I think honestly for me, like I'm a little bit sick of the whole club restaurant scene. I'm like, hey man, like food's not that good. It's also like 4 times the price. Like, what are we doing?
It's also it's really difficult to do 500 covers and do really great food,
dude. For sure,
like there is an imbalance there.
I mean, I don't want to bring up like certain brands because we're here on a podcast, like it's gonna be public. But there's some very big concepts here. You could probably guess some of the concepts. We'll talk maybe about it after.
There's dozens at this point.
There's dozens that have launched. Were like the hype for like 3 months, and now they're empty.
Yep,
they're totally empty. And I think part of it is, well, here's also an area of frustration. I think I've seen and spoken to a lot of people in the space. What's up with some of these restaurants just tacking on a 22% service fee for no reason?
Yeah,
22%.
Right. Well, that begs the conversation of, in general, Americans. As an overall, we don't really understand the value of food. We've been given from our childhood 99-cent meals, and so then everyone's like, well, a burger should be $1. Where if you really think about the grinding of the flour, the harvesting of the lettuce, of course, raising of the beef and the cattle, and then butchering it and shipping it 2,000 miles across the United States. We're in Florida. Florida's 650 miles long. Like nothing's coming from Florida anyway. So very, very little. So that all being said, then we're like, oh, that's an expensive, dish or plate. And most restaurants are single digits, right? And margin, where hardly any other business in the world is running off single digit margins.
For sure.
And our way of accepting price is skewed, and it's actually inaccurate.
Yeah, I'm actually a big proponent of like charging more if you need, but removing the service charge if you can.
I think it's a cultural issue that we have, and it's a communication issue.
Yeah, if there's one tip we've told all of our clients is like you mentioned, like we have a lot of clients where been with us for 5-6 years, and we've been with them this whole time, and we've seen the margins just dissipate over the last couple of years, right?
Overhead.
And so I've always told them, hey, look, with inflation, 8 to 10%, let's say, you got to raise your prices, man. You have to. But I think the public perception is like when you go somewhere and you see the price on the menu and then you get tacked on the 22%, it might as well just be the normal price of whatever it's going to be.
I mean, I have a restaurant where we have sandwiches, and it's pretty hard to price a sandwich over $20.
Yeah.
But I really should.
Yeah.
And we run that like $17 to $19.
Yeah.
And then I have a steak one, and it's steak, so it's like $26, $27. But like, I feel in general, I should be adding 30% to like all my prices in order for things to really even out. But then the shock value from the customer standpoint is,
I see what you're saying. Right. Okay, so I see where it's coming from.
There's only you get 100 points, right? If you imagine a dollar bill and you start shaving away, and so let's say a standard restaurant pre-inflation was 12 to 15% margin. Well, that still stays the same. And then you increase the cost of the cleaning supplies 1%, shave off one of those. You increase labor several percent, shave off 5%. We're now down to about 8 points or so.
It's tough.
You start shaving because nothing else has changed. People's perception of how much they should pay for their food in general, it went up a little bit, but not as much as everything else.
I see what you're saying. Interesting. Okay,
so it's an uphill battle. So to go back to the question of the service charge, we do 8% at one of my concepts.
Yeah.
And so we're not up there in the 22.
Yeah. 8% is reasonable though.
It's reasonable. And it also allows like the customer to still be excited about the service they got and leave extra,
100%.
They still leave 20, but I'm saying sometimes people leave 25 or
totally.
Whatnot.
I'm just saying the whole 22, or I even saw it like 24%. I mean, well, that's such an obscure number. 24%.
I mean, to look at like, $100 steak and know it's going to cost you 125 plus tax.
Yes.
So 135. I mean, that's hitting the wallet. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's just
I haven't
crazy.
seen that yet. Yeah.
I forgot which the concept was, and I'm almost happy I don't remember because I would have said it on the podcast.
It's got to be printed on the menu, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, good.
It is, but it was such... Oh, it was like such an aggravating realization.
You should do the math for you, like on the menu.
Yes.
I always go back to like a mixed green salad. Can you imagine how much work? There's like 5-7 different lettuces in the mixed green.
Yeah.
Imagine how much work it is to grow those, cut those, wash those,
box
them, and ship them.
Here's my other frustration.
And we want to pay $10 for a salad.
Or think about this. It's one thing to have a service charge, full service, sit down, everything that goes into it. I can respect that. Some of these QSRs are doing it too.
Yeah.
20% QSR. I'm not going to say the name. One of the brands starts with a P, ends with an Ida. What the heck?
Yeah, I think you can decline it. You should have the option to.
It's crazy, man. It's like one of those things. But then
that's when we need services, like yours that can help find those pennies.
Here's the other problem. Here's the other problem is like you look at like let's just say Uber Eats, right?
Yeah,
they're taking 30% in some cases. Like that's brutal, right? So
that's just pass through revenue for an operation to where you just have cash flow.
Yeah, and that's wrong.
And if you ran a business basically only off that and you started with 10 grand, you'd eventually run out of money.
Yeah,
you might stay alive for a year and a half and pay your salaries and whatnot, and then as those points overtake margin. Right? Because if you're making 30% in QSR, kudos.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Yeah. But if you're making anything less than 30% and you're giving someone else,
I know.
The maths, you're going to run out.
100%. It seems like, so from our side, right, we're on the tech space, and we talked about this just pre-podcast a little bit, but I was excited about the restaurant space in general because we were finding restaurants earlier on. We did a lot of e-commerce in the beginning, and we started working with a couple restaurants just out of kind of pure chance. And I always was kind of against the restaurant space initially when we started our company because I knew it was tough to track a return. That's the only reason.
I mean, everyone in history has said it's a tough
right?
industry.
It's just a tough, so I'm like, all right, if I'm choosing a niche of brands to work with, Ecom is very simple. Ecom is like, hey, if I want to sell like a t-shirt online, let's say the t-shirt's $30. And let's just say from when running my ads, I can see that my cost per acquisition, which by the way, I can track because it's all online, it's all tracked, right? Yep. I know when you went to checkout, I know you went to thank you page, I know you got the email confirmation. That's a purchase, it's all tracked online. So if I can see that for every $5, $10 I spend, I sell a t-shirt for $30 and product costs included, I'm profitable, dude, I'll keep scaling that all day long.
Also,
right?
A t-shirt doesn't deteriorate while hanging on the rack.
Yeah,
like a hamburger will.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was, when we first were starting our business, and it's been over 10 years now, restaurant space was something that I was like, I don't know, right? But then we worked with a couple brands in LA, and one of my first concepts we worked with was actually a brand called Original Tommy's. Have you heard of them?
I haven't, yeah.
They're like a fast food chain based out of LA. They got like 32 stores.
Wow.
Family friend of ours. They were legendary brand, been around for 70 plus years, but never touched digital. I mean, ancient brand.
So they scaled like that?
So we worked with them, and within the first 3 months, their store-wide sales went up 5%. And for me, I thought, it was kind of funny. I was going to the meeting after the first quarter of working with them, and I was like, we're going to get fired.
Yeah,
for sure. We're done. This is it. And they were like celebrating, oh my God, a 5% lift.
Sure.
And I was thinking to myself, the e-commerce brands we work with, if we don't do a 2x return every month, they're like losing it. 2x return, 3x return. And I got a 5% lift.
Yeah, 5 points is the greatest
It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And so I thought to myself, wait a second.
Maybe there is something.
Maybe there's some cool opportunity here. That's cool. So we kept diving into it further and further. And then the more we learned, the more we realized that, like, man, no one knows what they're doing when it comes to marketing.
Right. As an operator, most restaurateurs, at least that I know or run into, work their way up in the industry one way or another.
Yeah.
And marketing wasn't as necessary in the old school operations.
I think so, yeah.
It was word of mouth. Obviously, the internet and advertising on the internet hadn't really been forward for a long, forever.
For sure.
So now it's such a highly competitive market. I mean, a lot of it came from real estate, creating all these new retail stores, right?
Yeah.
Like a building and you have all the empty retail downstairs and they just started plugging restaurants into it. So it's just this whole circle that's caused it. And you need to act. You know, you have to respond to it.
100%. I mean, it's interesting because out of every brand we've ever spoken to, I've only seen one brand doing their marketing. I think an amazing job. It's the Cheesecake Factory. So
you gotta have respect for those guys.
But it's hilarious.
Yeah.
And what was interesting is I remember the meeting and I met with them and we're talking about, how do you track your cost per acquisition? How do we see that, hey, you're spending X amount on ads, which was a lot.
Prove to me the marketing's working or worth the investment, right?
And they had a system. And they were tracking store visits. And they were doing this like 4 years ago when we spoke.
Right.
And so I was like, hey, this is one of the first meetings I've ever had where I'm like, hey, I can't help you.
I can't help you.
You're awesome. Keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome,
right.
And I don't want to take away from that.
I'll take an Asian chicken salad.
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. It was like a mutual respect. I was like, you guys are awesome. But it's very interesting. Speaking also of tech and more on this topic, I mean, world's changing quick with AI.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing anything operationally with AI yet? What's that
Not
look like for
yet.
you?
We absolutely have been discussing it, especially in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. I could imagine.
Yeah, we hosted TED AI at the Transamerica Pyramid, where I'm the food and beverage operator.
Yes.
So, we hosted one of their events. They had a big weekend, and I think it was September. So, a lot of those conversations are happening. The thing is people in general, I think, are weary of technology, and it's like, I just want to have a nice warm meal. Don't shove a computer in my face. So, but I actually use for lunch, not for dinner. We use a QR codes for ordering because it's hyper efficient. So I have it embedded in an image. So it's still, you look at it, it's nice. QR code, but it looks nice. It's in an acrylic frame on the table.
Amazing.
You're still sat with the hostess. You're greeted at the front door. Hostess says, how many in your party? Would you like to sit inside or outside? Grabs the menus and the silverware, brings you to the table, hands you the menus, and say, when you're ready to order, please just scan with your phone. We actually avoid the word QR code. And I've seen people walk in, sit down, and get like maybe a cold food item that's quick to, in 3 or 4 minutes, they have it on the table.
Wow.
Which allows us to get, we're in a downtown area. People need efficient lunches.
For sure.
The other part about it is you got 3 or 4 people at a table. One guy gets a call. He's got to go back to the office. He can tab out and pay for his.
For sure.
Well, and if somebody
what do you guys use? What's the system you guys use for that?
I use Toast.
Okay.
And so
nice.
I'm using Toast like globally and using Toast payroll, Extra Chef.
Wow.
Everything is integrated. So, it's a little bit of a lift to get it going. There's a lot of data entry. And
for sure.
At the same time, it's like, we're all operators. So it's like, I've got to spend 4 hours doing data entry, but I also need to run the floor. So
yes,
a lot of restaurants and F&B we don't have like 6 people in an office like plugging away for us. But we're almost in the position to where you can just log in and see what's happening, and
100%,
and it's super efficient for us.
So I'm so happy you brought this up. Rafi over here is probably already knows what I'm going to say, but man, that's an amazing opportunity for you. You know why? Every single person who scans that QR code is an opportunity for data.
He hinted at that. Yeah, I know.
Huge.
Right.
So do you know currently that if someone hits that QR code, is there a way to put like a meta pixel on that or like a Google tag? Basically, these are basically
highly likely. And
there's this is basically.
I'm not going to act like I know exactly what that is either.
Okay. So let me explain. Okay, so what this is, so let's go back to the e-commerce example.
Sure.
If I want to sell TV remotes, whatever, some strange item to sell, but let's just say I sold that.
I bought that remote before.
You bought that? Okay,
Yeah.
so we bought it. Yeah. So if I'm selling these remotes, if I'm running an ad to sell these remotes, for example, how does Meta know that you sold the remote on your e-commerce site, which is not owned by Meta, right? They're different, right?
Right.
You put a pixel there. So what
It's a trackable element.
Yeah, so it's basically a code that you put on the page. And so if I'm going to check out, I see the item, I go add to cart, I go check out, and then I get to a thank you page, right? So basically each URL is like going to fire something back to Meta if you got to that page. So if I go to an add to cart, that's an add to cart tag, right? So, we got someone from an ad to get to add to cart. Okay, now we got someone from add to cart to checkout, and then finally to thank you page. Confirmation of purchase, right? So that's how Meta knows that the sale happened, and they say, hey, guess what? It costs you $10 to get that sale.
But the more sales, that number could go down, right?
Totally, so that it can optimize. So as it learns more and more, so think about this. If I run an ad to 100 people, let's just say, to buy this remote, again, right? And let's say my targeting is people ages 20 to 60, married, single, whatever, that also have an interest in tech. Fine, super general. I then find from running the ad that out of the, 100 people I reached, that, 80% of them were like ages 30 to 40 and were also like recently engaged. That's learnings that my ads are going to get, so that when I run another ad to 100 people, I might only target that segment. Sure. Right?
Because you find more success in that segment.
Totally.
So where are you running these ads? On Meta platforms?
All Meta. You could do, I mean, it'd be Facebook, Instagram mostly, right?
Right.
But, then same thing
I like how
Google.
Instagram ads used to be stuff. You're like, why would anyone buy that junk? And now you're like, I'm going to click on that.
Dude, seriously, the moment
changed the game.
The moment that, it's funny, the moment that Apple Payments came out, I buy things so quickly on Instagram. It's just too easy.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's the double click's almost annoying. It's like, I don't want to double click. Just
Do you guys have the same thing for Toast? I'd imagine if someone comes in, they check out just Apple Payment. I'm sure you.
Yeah, Apple Pay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course,
same thing,
absolutely.
Right?
And so it's
way
cool.
easier
Like you assign each QR code to the table, so it knows exactly where it's going. And the whole,
good.
We have the kitchen display system. Of course, the kitchen printers. I mean, it operates as if the server was there, but here's the way. At first, there's a percentage of apprehension. At the same time, it's one, you don't have to flag somebody down. If you want to get another glass of wine, you just click it. And I wanted to also still make our service personable. Again, this is lunch that we do, breakfast and lunch
For sure.
that we do it, where you need, they're very habitual dining times. So, lunch, if you find a salad or that roast chicken that you like or whatnot, that you can get out within your budget and get back to where you need to be. Like, I'll hit the same lunch spot pretty regularly. And coffee in the morning is like, quote, on your way to work.
Yeah.
So you need to be efficient, and we're finding balance.
For sure. So back to the QR code, and I know we don't like saying QR code because it's kind of like, I think people just associate it with COVID now.
We just go scan the image with your phone.
Just scan this thing, like whatever, right?
Right.
But no, you guys are sitting on a big opportunity with that, and I think you are, because I'd have to look into it specifically like that. It's just going to your menu, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Toast tab.
Yeah. But it's just straight to the menu. It's not like there's
it's not a PDF. It's a click and buy.
100%
with pull downs. If you need to.
I wonder. I'd have to look into it to see. But if there's a way where you can put a meta tag, basically, here's what's happening. Just like our e-commerce example where someone got to the thank you page, dude. If someone's in your restaurant and they scan your menu,
right.
There's a pretty good chance they're a customer, right? Like they're in your restaurant. They're
absolutely.
Exactly. So let's just call it, it's 100%.
Well, I'm thinking out loud, going to Toast Tab, maybe we could control the QR code, right? The QR code could go to eBay if we wanted it to, right?
Totally.
So maybe the first page is please enter your name. And then from there, you click, this is my name, and then it takes you to the Toast Tab.
100%.
And then you're able to put in your order after that. So then
I got some ideas for you for sure.
Right.
But moral of the story is...
By the way, I'm not the only person using this system, so there's probably
a
few customers out there for you.
Well, 100%.
It's okay. I can help show them
I would love
how this works.
I mean, this is like... So I came from the e-commerce world. This is the stuff that excites me, because this is the kind of stuff where like we're problem solving right now, and this opportunity could be massive for you guys or anyone else listening. Because the truth is, think about this. Main problem in the restaurant space, tons of people come to the restaurant location, they engage with the brand online, but every single month, thousands of data points are just lost. Nothing happens, right?
Yep.
Where if you're a business and you're operating purely off your website, dude, it's all digital.
Well, also
right?
like for this one example, dinner, we're 85% reservations, 15 walk-in.
Yep.
It's by far the opposite for lunch. The other day, we had less than 10 reservations. We did 120.
Yeah.
Everybody walked in. So you're not, can I get a table? Not often are you going to take somebody's name. It's, yes, we have a table available. Let me walk you to your table. Not everyone wants to give their name when they haven't made a reservation. They want to be sat, get their salad, and get out the door. So, I look at our list and it's just walking. But there's another opportunity, as you're putting, to get their data.
Huge job. But even people making reservations, so you're collecting that information. But what about, I don't know, their guests, who they're with, their party?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So like, imagine a world where, how many? I know you opened a new restaurant, Wynwood, by the way. I got to check it out.
Oh, pop-up. Yeah, we finished it a couple months ago.
Got it.
And
okay.
But we're under construction in Fort Myers.
I heard it was, you guys did really, really well.
Yeah, the concept was cool. That's like my heart and soul.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, okay. So I want to revisit that. That's
okay, cool.
That's gonna be,
and I can talk about that concept a lot.
Oh, hell yeah. But just wrapping up this last idea here. Basically, man, look, you're in an opportunity where every single person that comes to your restaurant scans that thing. We'll say that thing, right? Not QR code. You
the image.
You have an opportunity to remarket to them.
Yeah.
And it's you talked about remarketing a little bit earlier, but like it is so cheap to remarket versus new acquisition.
Right.
Do you guys do any online ordering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You can order direct through our website, which also goes through Toast Tab. And then we're on DoorDash, and we're going to increase those to other platforms.
So like, think about this. This is like the easiest campaign in the world. Someone comes to your restaurant, and by the way, this brand we're talking about with the QR codes at the table.
Cafe Sebastian.
Okay. Yeah. So how many guests you guys are getting per month at that location?
We just started dinner like 2 weeks ago. So the data that I have is 2 months worth of lunch.
What would you guess monthly?
Less than 3,000, like 2,500, 3,000 for lunch.
So, let's just call 3,000 though, right? 3,000, right? So over a quarter, 9,000.
Yeah.
Right? Great, right? 9,000 data points.
Right.
Jeez. Right. And so imagine this world. Someone comes in, they scan that thing. Hey, real simple marketing campaign across Instagram. Dude, hey, we also do online ordering. Click here right now and get 5% off your first order when you order direct.
Right.
Easiest campaign in the world.
Now that you're saying it, we have the coffee shop, we have the ice cream shop, and we're not, we don't count necessarily how many people come through those because it's to-go food.
Or cross promotions, for example, right? So like one of the brands we were talking with here in Miami, they launched a massive restaurant, huge, and did very well for the first 6 months. Fortunately, not doing as well later, but they still have some other concepts that have done really, really well. And I was like, hey, if we get this thing going with some of these things at the table that you scan, right? You now have an opportunity to cross-market all your other venues, right? So for you also, multiple stores, let's just say ice cream or coffee or dinner or whatever, it doesn't matter. Like you're accumulating data of all your visitors, of which now you can use that data to remarket.
Yeah.
Right? And the cool thing too, for your situation...
Sorry.
No, for you, I was just saying, man, you got an awesome personal brand too. Like you can market all this under your name. Hey, I'm so glad you came to our restaurant here. Have you tried this or this?
Right.
Easy.
Yeah, we're going to start branching out a lot more. And I know one thing that I need to get better at is like reels and live video and the editing of.
Dude, but some of your vids I was watching, like I think you just need to do more of the.
I just
what
need
you're
to do
doing.
more of them
Because it's not like
I'm an operator too, so I'm just like in it.
Because I saw a couple cool ones. I saw one with you. I don't know. What were you were putting prosciutto on something.
Oh, that was my restaurant in Honduras.
Yeah.
Yeah. That went over really well. That blew up. I remember,
dude.
I actually the content was, these guys are so good. They're locals in San Pedro Sula, and they do all our content.
Yeah.
And that restaurant now has more followers than I do.
Wow.
So the restaurant has 40,000, and it just follows me. And they've done such a great job on the content.
Dude, I watched that like 3 times. Just because I like to, before I have a guest on the podcast, I like to do my research and kind of get your vibe, whatever. And you come off so authentically you.
Cool.
And I think if you just do more of that.
I know. I need to just do
it's kind of crazy. Like you don't have to figure out what to do. You just do more of it, literally.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right.
If you just do more of that, you will explode. And what's interesting for me, and not to go too far into this topic, but so I told you I spent a lot of time in Brazil. My fiance is Brazilian. And so I lived in Brazil most of 2023. And brands down there are putting like 10x more attention onto their Instagram than we do here.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. But they don't run ads. They don't
It's just
even
content.
touch it. It's just content. And what I've noticed there for a lot of restaurants there is the majority are using that thing at the table that you scan.
Really?
Majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason they do is because you can have a menu in multi languages. You can showcase the pictures of the items. Most Brazilians speak Portuguese. It's in no other language. It's like 2% speak English or something.
Yeah.
Very small. So for them, it's a lot of international people coming and traveling. It's just easier to have the menu with multi languages at the table. So, but it's the level of output they put in content is nuts.
That's cool.
But the other thing which is really weird actually is they don't Brazilians like don't use Google to find restaurants.
Oh yeah?
It's strange. Like they don't search
I mean,
at all.
I was gonna say I tried like what's the competitor, DuckDuckGo or something.
Okay, yeah.
And then there's the Microsoft one. I've tried other search engines and it's like all right, I'm going back to Google.
No, but they don't
immediately.
They don't even use a search engine. No. Period. So I have
just drive around the streets or
no they use Instagram. They use Instagram.
Hey, how's your restaurant?
Yeah. They just drive around and look. No, they use Instagram.
Well, so why can't
Very heavy on Instagram.
This is bigger. Why can't you search on Instagram yet?
You can.
Like,
but it's not as good as Google, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal with that? Why can't I just look up content about chicken parmesan?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, honestly,
with AI, it should be able to handle that.
So, oh man, I love that you asked this.
It's so annoying.
No.
That's why TikTok
because
like,
okay. The reason I love that you asked this, actually. I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. End of the year, we're launching a social app that does exactly this.
There you go.
You can search items on menus. It's specifically built for restaurants.
So if you're like totally into pho and I got to find it.
100%.
That's cool. I like
that. You can
search.
Can
it recognize the image? Because sometimes it won't be written or said.
Can you what?
Will the search engine be able to recognize an image over written or verbal?
I don't know yet, but we should definitely look into that.
Because like in the background, it could have like fried rice. Somebody's into that, and it's like on the table.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good idea. We've had some really interesting ideas from our team too of like categories of restaurants. So like on Spotify, how you can search like different genres or whatever.
I had a great idea. Keep going. Yeah.
Right. Okay. This is awesome. So like you can search things like best espresso martinis, whatever, or like Rafi had an idea for like best bathrooms.
What about? No, that's a big one.
Funny ones, right? Like good stuff. Or like
what about your playlist and my playlist?
We have that too.
Yeah, you got to have that. So that's like, what's your like Asian ethnic food playlist,
100%,
right? And
100%.
then what is your red sauce Italian?
There's
right?
or like even like okay. So have you been to Ushi?
Yeah,
here?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love Ushi here. I think they're amazing. They've done a great job. My only problem is I never remember what I got because it's all in Japanese, right? So I don't know what I got. And so I recommend going to a lot of my friends and I don't know what to tell them to get. And so literally last time I went, I just took a picture of the receipt. And it was in that moment I was like, if I can just like save these items and so I can remember what I had and then I can send this to you or a friend or whoever or remember myself.
Sure.
That's a huge value add.
So you could almost like sort of like a memory, if you will. You save the set of images or whatnot.
So check this out too. When you go to a restaurant and part of the product is like you scan that thing to look at the menu. So the menu is like social. You'll be going to a restaurant. Let's just say we follow each other on the app. You'll go to the restaurant. You'll see that I was there. Oh, Brett was here. And you'll be able to see the things I liked on the menu.
Right, because you have connections.
Bingo.
Your friends were here, whatnot. It'll recognize
Here's what they liked, by the way.
You could put it directly onto the menu itself, too. So you don't need to have it.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening.
Right.
And
is there another way to get a portal jump like that isn't a QR?
NFC chip.
Right.
Yeah.
So could you embed a chip into your menu board?
So we actually I have one here. NFC. So near field communication chip.
Right.
And so basically what it is this could be an NFC chip.
Sure.
And all you
just
do is
put your phone near it.
You literally just you just tap it basically. So it's the same thing. The only
and you can customize them. It could go to any website you want it. Right?
The only problem with NFC chips, and it's because people don't know what they are.
Well, what if you just hit it inside your menu board and it just said tap here?
You could do that.
I'm
literally in the menu. I'm
probably going to start next week.
Yeah. Oh my God. So the menu is the NFC chip.
Correct.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wait, this could be insane. Wait a second.
I can get the menus built. Let's do this.
Oh my God. Yeah. So you have the menu that you're holding.
Yeah, it just says tap here.
And then it says tap here if you want to see more, basically.
To order.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
I'm freaking out inside right now.
Wow.
It could, seriously, you could build a vase and it could be at the bottom of the vase.
You totally could do that.
And a centerpiece for your table.
Oh, my
and it's just
God.
Tap it.
Wow. This is really good.
Edit that out.
Yeah, edit this out. Don't tell anyone this idea. It's too good. Oh my God. This is legit.
Yeah, here we go.
We can make this.
Right.
Like 100%.
Done.
Wow.
And I'm sure those things cost 25 cents. Or I'm sure they're
less. They're like 4 cents.
Right.
We make them. I have one on me. Where is it? It's in my backpack over here. I'll show you after. But yeah, we make them like these little, they're like these little like dots. We call them dots.
Yeah.
And
it's quite literally a bad word, the QR code. So again, that's why we avoid it.
So,
but the process is acceptable.
You know what we call them actually? Yeah. We call them in-restaurant activations, IRAs.
Got it.
And the reason we call it that is, again, we try to avoid that word, but it's truly, and it's an activation. Someone scans that. Now I have the opportunity to see who they are, where they came from. Man, I can even see which website they were on prior to visiting your menu website.
Right.
It's insane.
Now, is there an element to where you got to have boundaries with people's privacy? Because that's important too, to recognize they have an opt-in, opt-out.
Yeah, there is. So the U.S. is a little bit more lenient with this versus Europe, for example.
Yeah.
The obvious one, but basically, okay, within our product, Dishio.
Do you have to accept terms?
Yes. So if you're collecting a phone and email address, right, you need it it's an opt-in.
So the customer has the opportunity right then to say no and just carry on with their day.
So here's what I'll say, and I think this is the first time I said this on podcast live, but I've told a lot of people, it's not like some secret, so whatever. You do also have the ability, to, if someone scans that thing, also collect their phone and email and even address of where they live without their consent in certain states. There's a company called, and you can look it up, anyone look it up, retention.com.
Mm-hmm.
You basically put a code that would be on your website. And this is not just for the restaurant space. You put this on e-commerce website, whatever, and it'll literally populate an Excel sheet of someone's first name, last name, email, phone, and potentially home address. The only thing,
we don't do that, by the way.
Yeah, we don't either. The only reason I also recommend just not doing it, even if you can't get that information, is you get one bad egg of someone who complains.
Well, that's why I thought it was important for you to have the opportunity to opt in, opt out. Recognize
it's better to have an actual opt in.
Yeah, because there's certain. Mm-hmm. How often do I tell a pop up on my no? You don't send me notification. No, don't know where my you're a ruler app. Why do you need to know my location?
For sure.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, so because I think it's so funny. I have a good friend of mine. I'm from Orange County originally, and a good friend of mine, literally, maybe it was we were in high school, years and years ago. He was doing QR codes before QR codes were even a thing.
Right.
And I remember when he started doing this, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But way back then too, you needed a special app, and people didn't really understand it.
Yeah, it wasn't embedded in your camera phone.
Yeah, it was just no one understood it, and so his business kind of failed. And then COVID came out, and it became, oh my God, everyone's doing QR codes, but it got this negative stigma. I feel like now at this point, we're finally at the point where everyone gets it. The negative stigma is still somewhat here, but it's kind of gone down a little bit.
It's settling a little bit.
It's settling a little bit.
It's not sexy though.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It doesn't look cool. It looks a little like governmental, like,
yeah. But there's a way. I think there's a way to make it cool.
Yeah, and that's why I embedded it in the logo of a wine bottle.
Yeah.
And the wine bottle is next to a loaf of bread, and it's in a
That's definitely
clip
a
art
sexier
style.
look. Yeah.
It's there, but that was my way of making it. But now I think we've got a new way.
Well, I think this is nuts, this idea. Actually what got me so interested about QR codes is I was in Brazil, and I was with my fiance on a date, and again, Brazilians speak Portuguese. Anyone watching, they don't speak Spanish. A lot of Americans think they speak Spanish.
Right.
It's insane.
Americans. Everybody just speaks Spanish, right?
It's just like, what the hell, man?
My wife's from Honduras.
Yeah. So we're sitting there, and I scan the menu, and to my surprise, that the menu is in English. And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell? Like, so I asked my fiance, is your menu also in English? She's like, no, it's in Portuguese. What the heck?
It recognized.
Dude, it's crazy. So I asked the waiter, like, what's going on? He goes, oh, it's kind of a cool menu, right? Smart. It recognizes that the settings in your phone are in English, and it changed automatically.
Cool. That's super cool.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
So it was in that moment.
And it's almost like you're uncomfortable when you're in another country and you don't know their language and you're about to order food. You're just like that anxiety, moment. You're like,
For
okay,
sure.
Am I going to get one? Am I going to order something I like?
Yes.
2, am I going to, be able to communicate with them? And then it kind of breaks that wall down.
100%.
And I mean, it's almost a visual version of now we have the AirPods that like translate.
Yeah.
It's like doing it for you.
So you want to know my prediction also for all this? You know how like AR is becoming a thing, augmented reality, wearing the glasses. Have you bought any of these? Have you tried these glasses before? You seen them?
I've played with them a little bit. I had never purchased
Meta glasses.
I created a whole concept about it, but the hardware hadn't really caught up to the software.
Yeah.
And one is just kind of heavy and
totally
cumbersome. But things are going in the right direction. So I have a pretty cool idea.
I think in the next 3 years, legit, we're all going to wear these things. And you're going to go to a restaurant. You're going to look at that thing on the table, the thing. Mm-hmm. And the menu's just going to pop up in your glasses. Yeah. That's what's happening.
Well, there's a lot of other things that can integrate into your experience more than just reading it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even if you can control sound as well individually,
and
you can filter out and filter in the room a little bit. But if you're into rock and roll and I'm into rap, we could be listening to different playlists.
Oh my God.
I'll just stop there. But
it was exactly though, right? That is so cool. Something I saw recently too that I think you might appreciate if you're looking into AI also for like online ordering. Have you ever used GoPuff, the app? Okay. Yeah. I use GoPuff all the time.
I order Mountain Valley spring water off of it.
Oh, dude, me too. Yeah. They have always the great deals all the time too. Awesome. So anyway, have you noticed when you order and then they send you like that text of your confirmation of order? And every time it's like a custom message based on your
efficient.
order.
And it feels personalized.
It's always personalized.
Yeah.
I'll order Mountain Valley water and it's like, oh, you must be thirsty. Hope you get hydrated. I'm like, what the hell? Like, but this is something that like you could totally do in your business for online orders.
Yeah. And like even if you're batting at like a 95% on that message, pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it could be off a little bit and like
totally
the water's not for me.
Dude, and here's the thing. Now we're on a podcast and we're talking about it because it was such an interesting experience.
Yeah.
Free marketing for them.
Right.
So, I just think that the restaurant space is one of those industries where owners are so set in their ways. You definitely don't seem like you're set in your way though. You seem like you're always kind of innovating and doing something new.
Trying to. I'm open to input. You and many people that are in these adjacent industries, looking in. This kind of renaissance, if you will, is new. So I think we're all open arms to it, and also like your world, digital world, moves at a much faster pace.
Yeah,
and it's nice to have people looking back into what we do because we don't always have time to learn about these other spaces.
For sure.
And then you're right. We're already putting in 12 hours plus. So it's like, you want me to learn another thing? Like,
I know.
I'm still putting out same fires from the last 20 years, but it's necessary.
100%. It's so interesting. Before we wrap up this episode, I wanted to hear about the pop-up in Wynwood and then what's coming, because I know that's a super exciting topic. Tell me about that. How did it go?
Yeah.
What's next?
All I wanted to try out something different. It's a fusion of Italian and Japanese. Um, the cuisine name from out of Japan, their term for it is called itameshi, which is a cool name,
Wow.
but we don't really have any reference to it. At the same time, I'd kind of been cooking like this for a very long time. I'd love to cook and eat Italian. I worked in Italy twice. I like American red sauce Italian. My grandmother is from Sicily, so it's in my blood.
Super cool.
But then, the flavors and techniques coming from Japan, specifically umami, had really been a driving force in my creativity and food focus for better part of a decade or longer, right? So I kind of thought about it. I'm like, well, I've been putting a little bit of red miso and white soy sauce in my tomato sauce for some time. Tomatoes have one of the highest levels of natural umami, period. So if you think about the two cuisines, you can get noodles and umami and pasta and umami. Parmesan's like the highest umami laden ingredient. So it's like there's these parallels. Well, then you just start enhancing things with one layer or another. The carbonara. We use a Jidori egg yolk folded into a pecorino cream and then topped it off with black sesame and truffle.
Sounds so good.
It was pretty ridiculous and people really enjoyed it. And the noodle, we did a udon noodle. The udon is basically pappardelle, right? But it's got a little more bounce to it. Oh, so we use hanayama, excuse me. Hanayama is a flat, wide udon style noodle that gave us that pappardelle texture and look.
Oh my God.
Close your eyes, you're eating carbonara. As you taste it coming out, you're getting all these other elements that bring the two cuisines together.
Wow.
So I rolled with it. So Oishi is the name of it. We had a pop-up run here in Wynwood. It went great to the point where people in California, New York, and Florida came to me and said, Brad, I think this is a scalable concept. Do you want to work together? And the first one is under construction, probably be done by the beginning of the summer, in Fort Myers.
Wow.
Right.
Man, it's recognizable but new. Like
It
you're
is.
saying.
Yeah, we
It's
did
amazing.
Chicken parm katsosando. So katsosando, everyone's like, it's been hyped for a couple years now. And
Yeah.
it no longer needs to be $150 A5 Wagyu going in the sandwich.
Yeah.
And it's in 7-Eleven in Japan, right?
Yeah.
And it's a cutlet. So chicken or pork cutlet that's cold and breaded. That's the
Wow.
original one. So we're doing, we brine it in dashi and Parmesan rind.
Oh,
We bread it, we fry it, we do our marinara, mozzarella
I need
cheese.
to try this.
And then chili crisp on Japanese mayonnaise emulsified with capers.
Oh, this is so awesome, man.
So it's fun, it's exciting, it's cool, and also that price point there was made not to break your bank. Also,
Wow. But as you're describing it, like the udon noodle, it's like the pappardelle, like it just makes sense.
yeah, it's like kind
Never
of
thought about
aha,
this.
like wow.
That's so interesting. I mean, it's so interesting. I think you can't help but just want to go try it.
Yeah,
Like just the idea of it. That's like that would be like see when I look at brands that are like good to market, right? Like again, I always tell my team like, hey, if we're just marketers, right? So it doesn't matter how good I am or good anyone that you're hiring. If food's not good, service isn't there, people aren't coming back, marketing doesn't work. I always joke that marketing is a truth accelerator. When you got something really great, dude, all we're going to do is accelerate the success you're already seeing, getting more people to know about you, talk about you,
right.
all that. But if it's not so great, it does just the opposite. You're going to get more bad reviews, right? But like this concept, as you're describing it, I could already see like the ads for it or like what you'd post about it.
It's a fun, exciting
It's
concept.
a super interesting concept.
Like the Negroni was made with sake and blood orange, and then we got this. You a lot of times you want to pour it on like a single rock, right?
Yeah.
Keep your Negroni cold. Well, we got like this cute little panda bear ice mold,
that's epic.
and it's like holding something in his hand, and you're pouring the Negroni over
That's
it.
so good.
Lambrusco spritz with yuzu.
See, dude, you are a marketer. You're a natural marketer.
Yeah.
This is amazing. But this is the kind of stuff too, where like I tell this in a lot of podcasts, is like food that tastes amazing, but also is so photo worthy. You like people are gonna take pictures of that and share that. I mean, come on, how do you not? Little cute panda right there. You got to.
Right.
You need to.
Right.
You have to. Just a couple minutes before we wrap this up, how do you continue to get better? Do you read any books, listen to any podcasts? What do you do on a regular basis to get better at the same time?
I think right now it's listen to my team is an important part, right? Discussing about where are the gaps, how they can be filled, and kind of like opening that door where I think a lot of times when you're an operator, you're like stuck and it's like, it's got to be my way. And, you know, just regimented. That's one way that I like open up. I talk to other operators pretty regularly. What's working, what isn't working.
Nice.
You
Do you
know,
have like a group of operators you meet with or talk with regularly?
no, it's something
Not
that's been
really.
on my mind. I wish there's, of course, you
Yeah.
know, people that are successful and I have a lot of respect for, but, and in general podcasts, you know, there's, you know, David Chang's podcast has been around for a long time, but he puts on some of the best operators in the country and they really get out there and tell you what's working for them and what's not. You know, it's pretty candid, but that's one I listen to regularly.
I thought about that for a while is trying to get like a group of guys that in my space that, I don't know, that are similar in the industry, but just have different approaches.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, you know, I
Other
don't know.
industries do it.
Yeah.
They find success in it. I hear from some of my property partners that you know, are in different businesses and they basically feed off each other. And they might be in completely different businesses, but
Yeah.
they're able to bounce things off of each other. And it's something that our industry is a little behind on.
Yeah. It's funny. Like, we sometimes talk to our clients, hey, if you had a great experience, you know, we'd love you to share your experience with other restaurateurs you think could benefit from our service. And some owners, they say, Brett, if we have this success here that we're hoping we're going to have with you guys, I'm not going to tell anyone. I want to keep you guys just for myself. I want to be the only restaurant using you guys. I'm like, come on, man. Like, please.
Right.
So,
Well, is there an element to your business that is basically in the background? The customer doesn't necessarily know?
So two sides of the business. The agency, totally in the background. So we're just operating off our clients' channels and platforms, right? So you would never see us. Our software is also customer facing, so you would see, right? Brands using Dishio, our software, like you scan the menu, there's a little logo at the bottom of Dishio. So it's recognizable, but it's subtle. Like we don't want to, it's about the brands, right? So we don't want to be in there in front of everyone's face, but at the same time, like we want some recognition,
Yeah.
right? Obviously.
Right. Well, just like a restaurant, word of mouth, right?
Totally. Yeah. But it's super interesting. And then, man, this has been super awesome. Anyone who's interested in maybe like learning more about you or checking out some of your brands, what's the best way for them to find you online?
I mean, Instagram. I didn't jump into TikTok yet, and we talked a little offline.
You should totally do TikTok too.
I'm gonna push more in the Reels world and possibly TikTok. It's just it works so well. Also, it's fun. It's something that I think people that are just like core operators. It's very different to step back and take a second. Let's shoot a video,
Yes.
and then go sit down and edit it. Like there's all these things that are unnatural, but Instagram's the best way to find me, and there'll be more content.
Hell yeah. I can't wait, man. I'm excited to see it too.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time, man. I'm super excited
100%.
and glad to hear that you were here also full time. We got to chat more for coffee another time soon. And
I'm down.
I'm going to check out some of your concepts.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Great for you to talk.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.